So what should you grow if you really just don't feel like growing food, or if you think that you're just going to be a terrible gardener? Well, today I'm going to walk you through some of the most simple things that you can put into your garden that are going to require the least amount of effort in the scheme of all of the things that you could start growing. Around you, the world is a little bit crazy right now, and there's all kinds of reasons why you might be feeling convicted to start growing some of your own food. And so I really want to help you to do that even when you're feeling like maybe you don't want to start a garden, or you have a lot on your plate and gardening takes up too much time. And so I want to give you some of the things that I have learned, some of the plants that are much more simple to grow and don't require near as much effort on your part to get those going and to start harvesting and producing food for your family. There actually are quite a few of them that don't require nearly as much. So we're gonna walk you through those today, and hopefully you'll feel confident at the end of this to start growing some of your own food. Not only is the world a little bit crazy, but food prices are skyrocketing. If you go into the grocery store, I think that a lot of us are surprised when we look through the shelves and we're realizing that the products that we're used to buying are greatly increasing in price. It's in those moments where I think to myself, man, I really need to up my growing game and start producing enough of this food to provide for my family without having to rely on grocery stores, because the prices to feed a large family, it is just painful. And so we're gonna try to do as much as we possibly can. There are certain things that we can grow, that we can produce a lot of food with minimal effort. So the very first thing that I think is the easiest to grow is bush beans. And that's because it doesn't require you to put up any kind of trellising or anything to support those beans. You really can just prepare a spot in your garden, put those into the ground, and they're going to produce really well and efficiently for you. They are disease resistant. I don't really have many problems with them. I don't normally have pest problems with my bush beans. They're really pretty tolerant of the heat, and they do a really good job growing. So that's one of my top picks for you, is to go ahead and start bush beans. Now, the only downside of those is that all of the beans will come on within a couple of weeks period of time, which means that you need to be prepared to either can them or to freeze them, some way to preserve those beans, because you're probably not going to be able to eat them all at the same time. So I think that bush beans are a really simple way to go, and you're going to be really happy with the results. The second thing that I think that you should grow is zucchini. I'm convinced that almost anybody can grow a successful zucchini plant. You're probably going to end up with more zucchini than you know what to do with, but I love the versatility for the zucchini, because you can use it for breads, you can make side dishes with it, you can replace noodles. There's a lot of things that you can do with zucchini throughout the season, and it's pretty simple to keep those alive. What I really love about zucchini is that even though they're large, they're kind of contained. They're not necessarily a vining plant typically. So while they're large and big, they just are gonna keep producing and producing and producing all throughout the season, and you're gonna end up with more zucchini than you know what to do with, and you're gonna end up sharing it with your neighbors and friends. Another really great option is onions. Now, if you don't feel like starting seeds inside, I do believe that starting onion seeds inside produces a bigger and possibly better onion. But I have many times purchased onion sets that come in the bag that you can pick up almost anywhere. They're in hardware stores, they're in greenhouses, all kinds of places you can pick up sets of onions. Those are just little and they're ready to be planted right into the ground. Now the only thing is you need to make sure you get those into the ground pretty early, because they're going to be ready to start growing much sooner than some of your other plants that you can grow. But I find that once you put onions into the ground, it's really pretty simple. When you get partway through the season, you're just going to trim back the growth a little bit on those, and then they're gonna keep producing. And what that does is it stops putting the energy into the leafy greens that are coming out of the top, and the energy then can go into producing a bigger and better onion for you. So really just trimming them back partway through the season, and then when they start getting a little bit bigger, you're just going to dig out a little bit around the actual onion so that the dirt is not completely covering them. You're just giving them a little bit of room to breathe. So other than that, I think onions are really simple, and they produce something that stores for a really long time, so you don't necessarily have to eat them all at the same time. There's something that you can carry on for months and months, especially if you have a decent basement or a storage place to keep those. We always have tons of luck with cucumbers as well. They don't tend to get lots of bugs or disease. They keep producing and producing and really give you a ton of harvest for the effort that goes into them. Now, they are a vining plant, and so they're going to take over a good chunk of your garden if you're going to leave them, but you can trellis those. So if you have a fence or anything like that, you can actually train your cucumbers to go vertically, which is a really cool benefit. So I think that cucumbers are a really awesome thing to start putting into your garden because you're gonna get tons of snacks. Cucumbers do require you to water them pretty regularly. They're going to need to be watered daily in order to keep doing their thing, but I do feel like they're pretty heat tolerant. They do a really good job just withstanding all kinds of different weather. Where we are in Ohio, you never know what we're gonna get. And so I think that my cucumbers almost always withstand anything that's thrown their way. They're a really great option. Lettuce and kale are some of the easiest things that you can grow because they're gonna start early in the season. They are a cool weather plant, which means that you don't wanna try to grow those in the heat of the summer. You're really gonna start growing those much, much sooner in the spring so that they get that cool air. But they're very simple, and it's awesome because you just trim them back and they continue to grow and produce. So you get to trim a little bit, eat it, put together a salad or whatever you're gonna use it for, and then it's going to grow more right out of that exact same plant. So I find that they last for several weeks doing that, just trimming, and more grow. And then we'll just go back out and scatter some more seeds and just keep planting lettuce. And we have fresh lettuce we made it halfway through the summer last year before things started bolting. So we had several months worth of lettuce, and it was amazing. The other really cool thing about lettuce and kale is that you can get 2 different seasons out of planting them because they're cool weather. So you can do them in the spring, and then you can do them again in the fall. And so you would, like mid to late summer, you would start planting those again, and then they would continue growing into the cooler months. Lettuce is a really great option if you don't actually have a garden that's put into the ground or a place where you have raised beds. They do great in raised beds, but it's not totally necessary. If you have something on your back patio, you can put those in containers. They have some really cool options out there so that you can grow lettuce. My very last suggestion for you is to grow a determinate tomato plant. Those are tomatoes that are more contained and maintain their shape, and they don't require lots of pruning and taking care of them. They just kind of stay where you want them to. There are other varieties in determinate plant that just kind of goes a little bit wild and they grow huge. They require a little bit more of you, but a tomato shouldn't have near as much maintenance for you. Those can grow in pots on the back patio. You can put them into the ground. They can grow pretty much anywhere, and you're gonna have really great success with some tomatoes, and there's nothing better than fresh tomatoes in the summer. Those are some of my top picks for the easiest plants that you can grow that are going to require the least amount of maintenance and setting things up ahead of time. I think that you are going to find yourself proud of the work that you did and really happy with the end result. So I really encourage you to get out there and just start growing even if you don't feel like it. We will catch you next time on This Ohio Farmhouse. Thanks for being here.